It wasn't that long ago that nearly everyone had some kind of connection to the family farm. But today, even though agriculture has never been more important in its impact on feeding the world, we seem to know less and less about where our food supply actually comes from. This is especially true in America's dairy industry.
There are approximately 65,000 dairy farms in the United States today, and that's about half of what it was 15 years ago. So the number of dairy farms really in this country gets smaller every week. It's really important today when you realize that less than 2% of the American public has any connection to agriculture at all, that there are programs and services and organizations like ours that help educate consumers and the public as to where their food actually comes from.
John and Evie Hamilton and their son are one such family, keeping the dairy farm tradition alive and strong here in the rolling countryside of Cuba City, Wisconsin. They're the proud owners of Hilton Holsteins, a registered Holstein dairy farm of over 65 head of dairy cattle. Here, the daily work routine of dairy life has been passed from generation to generation.
Our motto is live the dream, work to succeed. And I guess that's one thing that we live by, that never stop dreaming, but always work to make that dream come true. And probably the biggest thing that has been passed on from generation to generation that I see, and probably the hardest for having a teenage son, is patience.
It's a work ethic not lost on their son, 16-year-old Charles Hamilton. As a leader in his 4-H group and Future Farmers of America, Charles has every intention to carry on the dairy tradition of his family.
I guess it's just what I know and love. I just love working with the cattle, love working around people that share the common interest with me, and I just enjoy working to try to make the world better just by producing the food and working with the cattle and just making sure that I have a successful farm and have all the comfortable, happy animals around me. This is Hilton Mailing Charming. She's one of my cows. She's about 6 years old and is scored at excellent 90 points right now, has won several awards. This is one of good cows that we got in the barn that belongs to me.
He gets up with us in the morning when he's home and comes to the barn with us, and he puts in long hours on weekends and during the summer and vacations, so he knows that it's not a free ride.
Of course, it helps that the type of registered dairy cow that the Hamiltons raise on their farm is the Holstein cow, one of the most recognized and beloved animals in the milk industry. As one of 6 breeds of dairy cattle in the U.S., the Holstein is by far the most prolific in milk delivery, delivering 94% of the milk produced in the United States.
The Holstein cow is incredibly important. Over 94% of all the milk that's consumed in the United States comes from Holstein cows. And it's really important when you look at the fact in 2050, we're going to have 9.3 billion people to feed in the world. You look at the cheese and other products that come from dairy, the Holstein cow is incredibly important because no other animal is more proficient at producing high quality, high component, high volume milk than the registered Holstein cow.
The Holstein cow is the backbone of our tradition, our livelihood. The registered end is our pride. A lot of people are into their ancestry trees and going back, and when our cows are 100% registered, we can trace them back to the day they came off the boat. And that, to me, means a lot.
I grew up on a registered Holstein farm, and my dad always said registered Holsteins were the only cow that was worth working with. And I've been raised that way, and I feel that way. You will never see another breed of animal on this farm as long as we are farming it.
The Hamilton family are all members of the Holstein Association, the largest dairy breed organization in the world with over 30,000 members who have a strong interest in the breeding, raising, and milking of registered Holstein cattle.
The best form of identification in the world for dairy cattle is the registered Holstein registration paper. We have information dating back to the 1800s from the first Holsteins that were imported from Holland. So we really manage the national dairy herd one cow at a time.
But primarily, The Holstein Association is there to provide for the next generation of dairy farmers through its multiple youth programs. The Holstein Foundation is especially interested in young dairy farmers like Charles Hamilton, who represent the future of the dairy industry. Through education and training programs like its Young Dairy Leaders Institute, public speaking training, and even fun national events like its Dairy Bowl and Dairy Jeopardy competitions, the Holstein Foundation is preparing youth to not only take over the family dairy farm, but also excel in leadership skills and knowledge of the dairy industry to prepare for a most profitable future.
Programs provide youth a lot of skills that they really can't get other places. Whether in school, it provides some unique things. There's lots of opportunity to develop their speaking skills. It teaches them a knowledge about their industry so they can be confident talking about it and be knowledgeable in their work. And also another real benefit, I think, is it teaches kids a pride in what they do.
I guess I just want to try to use the knowledge I've got through listening to my parents and other people around me that are involved in the dairy industry, as well as different Holstein programs like Dairy Bowl and Dairy Jeopardy and just different ideas like that. I want to use that knowledge to try to help the dairy industry and feed the world and just try to make the world just a better place.
What we want to tell people of the family farm is that we are thriving, that we are still here, that the dairy industry has not gone to just corporate farms, that the family farm is very, very strong.
For the dairy industry, the focus may still be on the Holstein cow, but for young farmers like Charles, the real focus is on the people who own her, who will be making a future living from dairy farming on the family farm. For more information, visit holsteinusa.com or holsteinfoundation.org.